Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Pullen again for lesson 1.03, more on stem plots, and this video is going over example 2. So we're going to follow along with the Cami and Staplet on your computer. So example 2, the boys and girls basketball teams at a high school had their heights measured at practice. The following data was recorded for their heights in centimeters. So we have the data for the girls and the data for the boys. So they want you to go to stemplots.com and construct something called a back-to-back stem plot. You're going to split the stems into two groups and sketch the graph below. Okay, so I want you to go to stemplots.com, and in this case, lengths or heights are quantitative variables, but we have multiple groups, boys and girls. So you're going to go to this option. And the first thing we want to do is put in the variable name, heights. And we're going to have girls and boys. Okay, so now go back to Cami. And let's first do the girls' heights. We're just going to highlight it and hit Control C. And then we are going to go to the heights for the girls and hit Control V. And we're going to do the same thing for the boys. Go back to Cami, highlight their heights, Control C. Go to the field to input their heights, hit Control V, and now we have both. By the way, you can add multiple groups, but we only have two. We're going to hit Begin Analysis, and right now they have two box plots, but we want a stem plot. So you're going to hit the drop-down menu, and you're going to hit Stem Plot. This is a back-to-back stem plot. I put girls first, that's why they're to the left. This is read not as 514 for the girls, but the lowest height is read as 14, that's the stem, 5, so 145 centimeters. So you kind of read it backwards. This would be 4 and 15 would be 154, where the boys you would read towards the right. So 153 is 153 centimeters. But they also asked you to split the stems into two groups. So where it says split stem, I want you to hit down the drop-down window and hit two groups. And here you have what they requested. So I want you to put the video on hold, and I want you to copy the stem plot into your notes. Excellent. So the next thing we have to do is we have to make sure to have a key. You only have to have one value noted in the key. It could be either a height from the girls or a height from the boys. I'm going to choose a height from the girls. So let's say I choose the maximum value, 179. You would write it as 17/9. or 179 centimeters. Okay, this should say Part B, not Part C. It says, Part B, compare both distributions in terms of shapes, outstanding features, center, and spread. So, socks. And so let's look to see how we would describe the distribution. And notice they specifically said, we'll use the markup tool, compare. Let's see. I want to choose a highlighter. Let's choose, I want to choose a yellow highlighter. So now, okay, better. All right, so we want to compare the distribution. So first thing we want to do is look at the shape of the distribution. So the girls, I would say it's slightly skewed to the left. Most of the data is more on the higher end, and the tail is pointing to the left. You have to kind of read this backwards. For the boys, I would say it's roughly symmetric. I don't see any obvious outliers or gaps in either distribution, so we'll note that in a few minutes. The center, for now, we're going to use the median for the centers. In the future, if data wasn't skewed, if both distributions were symmetric, you would use the mean. That would be preferable, but for now, we're just using the median. And we can get that from Statlet. So if we go to statlet.com, we can see that the medians are close. The median for the girls is 169 and for the boys is 169.5. For the spread, for the time being, we're going to use the range. So we would calculate the range for the girls, which would be 179 minus 145. Which would be 34 centimeters for the girls, and for the boys, 185 minus 153, which turns out to be 32. So the girls have a slightly larger spread. But I think that gives it's a little bit confusing. I think you have to point out something else in the description. We can see that the girls have both a lower minimum value compared to the boys. So they are at 145 centimeters and the boys are at 153. The girls also have a smaller maximum value. They have 179 centimeters, whereas the boys have 185 centimeters. So hold on a second. So here's a write-up or a description of the features that we just went over. Again, you have to make sure to compare, so you can't just list all the features for the girls and all the features of the boys. You have to use words of comparison. So the distribution of heights for the girls is slightly skewed left, whereas the one for the boys is roughly symmetric. The median height for the girls is slightly less than the boys, 169 centimeters versus 169.5 centimeters. The range of the heights for the girls is larger than the range for the boys. And again, I state the numbers. However, the boys have a larger maximum height of 185 centimeters versus the girls' maximum height of 179 centimeters. This is just an example of the write-up. Just make sure that whenever you do write up a description of your data that you include these main features, include context, and use words of comparison and contrast.